Hello folks and welcome to this week's review, and I have a review of a rather unusual Bluetooth speaker for you, and you'll know all about it if you've seen the thumbnail to this video. This particular one offers a cone of sound. I think I'll say it like that. Let's address the design, shall we, of that cone, which I'm sure you'll agree will be the center of any conversation at parties. Now, this upside down ice cream cone, known as the TRESOUND1, is available to buy direct from the company itself, and I'll put a link in the description. The company will ship to many countries, not all of them, and I would advise a quick look just to see if yours is in the mix. Price? Well, I have a dollar price from their own website of $599, but I'm sure the conversion into your currency will be adjusted at the point of sale. Now, Amazon also sells it for $599, but the price I've seen in pound sterling from the UK Amazon is £699. So do your research before you buy and check your local Amazon, have a bit of a Google, see if other retailers are stocking the speaker, and obviously shop around for the best price. And before we go any further, because we are about to go techie, I think we should take a closer look. And welcome to the closer look section for the, I think it's pronounced Trettitre, TRESOUND1. And yeah, look at that, would you believe it? This is a large cone-shaped speaker, and it emerges, when you open the box, it emerges from its foam case packaging shell, and it features a shaped MDF cabinet with a 4-coat piano gloss lacquer finish. That sits 457 millimeters high, that's about 18 inches, and it expands from that tip down to a 304 millimeter radius at the base. And that base, I would advise, should be placed on a tabletop surface or similar, because it's needed to enhance the bass response. For testing, I propped it on a large speaker stand. Inside this Bluetooth 5.1 device, well, you're looking at a pair of fairly large 32mm, that's 1¼ inch silk dome tweeters, plus a pair of 57mm, that's 2.25 inches mid-bass units. You'll see a silver colored metal grille that surrounds those particular speaker units. Underneath that is a larger 165mm, 6.5 inch subwoofer with a 2-layer compound paper cone. And that's been integrated to improve bass response, as you might expect. And that sits, as I say, at the bottom of this unit. The drivers, well, they're all pushed via a Class D amplifier. Weighing in at almost 6 kilograms, or just over 13 pounds or so, the unit feels weighty and surprisingly solid. Nothing wobbles or shakes here. The build quality is pretty good, I must say. And that sound output is notably 360 degrees, hence placement will be less of an issue, and you shouldn't lose the thrust of the sound you're playing if you walk around the room. You are provided with a switch mode power supply, so you have a barrel plug termination that plugs into the speaker itself. That runs via a thin cable to a large power unit, and on the other end of that unit is an IEC socket, and then a thicker mains cable runs from that to the wall. Now, you'll have to position this speaker relatively near to one side of the room. There's a bit of extension to the mains cable, so it doesn't have to be really close, but you're not going to be able to put this, unless you have extensions of your own, you're not going to really be able to put this speaker in the middle of the room, for example. It needs to be near the side. You also receive a minimalist manual and a soft cover for the speaker. Once in place, you switch on the actual speaker by rotating the point at the very top of the cone. That actually swivels, whereupon a light at the top flashes, giving Bluetooth connection information. The same control also handles the gain. As the promotional video says,
control-wise, one knob fits all.
It's at this point that you compare to a Bluetooth device using aptX as the codec. Pity there's no LDAC, but hey, you can't have it all, can you? PCM sound is supported up to 24-bit 96K. Next to that power socket I mentioned at the rear, if you can have such a thing on a cone, is a 3.5mm auxiliary socket to plug into other devices. So how does the TRESOUND1 sound, which is difficult to say after a pint or two? Well, let's go to the sound quality tests and we will find out. And welcome to the sound quality tests for the Trettitre. I'm still not convinced that's how you say it. I think it's Trettitre, TRESOUND1 Bluetooth speaker. And I wanted to compare this Bluetooth speaker with something in a comparable price bracket because it's a fairly expensive unit. So I picked on the brand new Sonos Era 300 plus the older, smaller Cabasse Swell. Yes, the Sonos focuses a lot on Wi-Fi, but it also serves as a quality Bluetooth speaker. During this test, I played a variety of music from Tom Waits, the Doves, and Miles Davis. So let's begin at the bottom and with the bass, which was impressive in terms of weight and heft, but also in terms of mobility. There's very little bloat around the bass, which kind of surprised me because I thought this unit would add a little bit of bloom. Don't know why, just a hunch. But not so. Bass guitar was present and correct, while bass notes around the piano added a sense of resonance and real presence when that instrument reached down that far. The subwoofer on this unit offers sterling service because, in addition to the low-end response, it proved to be pretty nippy around the soundstage. This helped the twangy effects of the bass guitar within the Tom Waits songs I was playing, and also double bass within the jazz-based Miles Davis tracks. More than that, it supplied the Doves rock tracks at 24-bit 96K with a real threat and a sense of impending doom. The issue, though, I had with the TRESOUND1 was the upper frequencies. Both the mid-range and treble in this Bluetooth speaker sounded a bit detached from the bass. Now, this is a general issue that I sometimes have with subwoofers per se. The mids and the treble here sounded a little recessed, a little bit disconnected from the confident bass output, as if they were coming from a different speaker sitting alongside, which technically I suppose they are, but to be honest, I really shouldn't have noticed. In comparison, the Sonos had a warming, friendly, bass-enhanced output, but here, well, it was more balanced than the TRESOUND1, while the Cabasse, well, even though that was too small to provide mega bass, it did offer more clarity than the TRESOUND1 in the mid-range area. The mids on the TRESOUND1 seemed to belong to a different sonic picture, in fact, and one that was situated maybe a few feet behind the actual unit, so that's how it sounded, as if it had further to travel before hitting the ears. Hence they had a bit of a hollow sound to them. Now the Tom Waits bass growl at 24-bit 96K did work well via the TRESOUND1. The subwoofer got right into the grit and the grain of his vocal, although the backing instruments like piano and violin, they were a little flat, a bit two-dimensional. Also, the Miles Davis album at 24-bit 88.2 in a silent way sounded rather thin in the mid-range and in treble terms, with a slight mid-range edge around the upper mids, especially the treble during crescendos. This jazz classic lacked any real insight or texture. The sound was quite pleasant, there was nothing egregious here, but there was little meat in informational terms. So how do I conclude this review? Well, Let me give you some final thoughts, I'll do some pros and cons, and I'll give you a rating. The Trettitre TRESOUND1 offers a dose of Marmite in aesthetic terms. This is not a bland box that you can hide in the corner of the room. The TRESOUND1 is aggressively designed. It's right in your face. It either reflects your design style or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, why are you buying it? Easy to install, the TRESOUND1 is an effective plug-and-go device without any real complications or techie traps for the unwary. It's very easy to use. Sound is decent, it has its moments, and it's certainly not bad, but I wouldn't call it impressive. In bass terms, the TRESOUND1 does a great job, but the sound as a whole, with mid-range and treble in the mix, never really, truly hangs together as a balanced entity. Both mid-range and treble, they have their issues. Now, I would recommend this one for those into rock or electronica, and for those who like to listen to music at party levels. And if that's your music bag, then sure, give this sonic rocket a closer look. Pros and cons. And in the good section, well, this is easy to install. It wouldn't take long to get this one up and running. When it is up and running, well, I like the ease of use as well. Bass response, well, you can't really argue with the bass response from this one. It's quite tight, it's not bloaty in any way. Build quality, yeah, quite a solid chassis on this one. In the bad column, there's an upper frequency disconnect. The mids and the treble don't really fit, they don't really plug in to the bass. Challenging aesthetics. Now, that's important because some people won't even bother listening to this Bluetooth speaker because they don't like how it looks. So sometimes there are positive aspects to offering a bland chassis design. Hey, another challenging aspect is the rather large footprint. It's also rather tall, so it's going to take up some space in your listening room. Finally, especially at high volumes, there is a risk of edgy mids. So a bit of a mixed bag. Not too bad, but not amazing either, which is why I'm going to give this Bluetooth speaker a rating of 7. And that's your lot. Thank you very much for staying to the end of this video. And if I could ask you, if you wouldn't mind, please, down below, if you can click on the like, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe buttons. That'd be very nice of you. Also, further down, can you support me on Patreon, please? Because it keeps me going. It is important. I know I go on and on about it, but really, it funds this channel. And there's also, if you have a look over there, all kinds of exclusive stuff that you might actually like. Also around down yonder, there are links to my website and my Facebook group, which you're welcome to join, and other social media channels. I will be back next week with, on Friday, isn't it? With the hi-fi news, etc., with all kinds of weird goodies. No idea what's going to happen because it tends to develop during the week. So, hope to have your company then. Until then, folks, bye-bye for now.